welcome to this .NET Object-Oriented Programming course. We will be covering the core basics of this topic. Before we continue, we need to have installed Visual Studio so you can follow along and make this exercise while you watch this video. So let's get to it. First thing, we are going to create a console app project. We're going to click on Next. And then we can call it a school project. So this is following our previous SQL course. So we are going to try to complete this course to match both, so we can start consuming database information connected with this .NET project. Then we give the name to the project, and then we are going to select the framework. We are going to use the latest .NET 8. So let's create a project. If you don't have this option, you need to install that framework on your machine. If you see here, it's going to display you a very basic screen containing the console write hello world. This is the basic line. And if we go here at the right to see the Solution Explorer, we can see the structure of our projects. We have the dependencies here, and we also have the class, the programs, that is the one that is being executed. So to begin, I'm going to remove this comment to avoid confusions, and then I'm going to add a class here. Add class. And then I'm going to name this class student, and I'm going to click on that. You see it created another file here that is named student, and then is part of the same namespace. If you see here, what is being generated are the usings. These are references that our projects might use. Those are common, so by default is adding those references. If you are not going to use them, I encourage you to delete them. You can press Ctrl R G and it's going to remove them, so you have a cleaner file. So for this purpose, we are going to dig deeper into these access modifiers later, but first we are going to stay with public. So now we have this public class student. So to start with this public class student, we are going to start adding functionality and information to this class. What is a class? Class basically is a way to have a template or a blueprint to create objects and to have instances of them. So this will make sense later. Let's try to create this class first. So we are going to add some properties. Public int ID, this will be our identifier, and then get set. So this get set is declared in order to be able to get the information that this property has, and this is in order to edit the information that this property has. So then if we write the word prop, P-R-O-P, and then we we press tab, it's going to create automatically this, and then we can start modifying the type of our property. In this case, it will be the name of the student. We have two properties now. These are the accessors of our property. This is the name of our property. This is the type of our property, and this is the access of our property, the access level of the property. So what we have in our other project, it was also, we have an age for the student, and also we have a inscription date. description date. Okay, now we have all this. This is the name of the class, student, and these are the properties of our class. You see here. Then the next is, let's add a method here. So the method, let's say I have one method that I thought before this, and we are going to create, that we are going to return the classroom where the student belong. Since this is a method, we need to add the parentheses here. In case that we need any parameters, the parameters will be listed inside the parentheses. We open brackets and our logic goes inside these brackets. Okay, so let's add some documentation to this method. The documentation here, in order to add the documentation, we need to add 3 slashes, and then it's going to complete this. So for this, let's describe this. The classroom to be determined by the name of the student. Okay, and I'm going to just to add some block of code, I'm going to add the instructions of what we need to implement here. If the first letter of the name is between A and J, that will return classroom A. I'm going to copy this. Then it will be K to, let's say, O, B, and then it will be B to C. So this is what will be returning. It will return the student's classroom. And that will be the documentation for our method. What we need to do here is to get the first letter of the student name of this property. We can access this property using the keyword name, for instance, or we can, since we are on the same scope and this is not needed, this will be the redundant. We will use the name as it is, and it will be identified by our compiler. So let's get the char type, that it's a character. We are going to take and let's call it first letter. It will be equal to our variable name dot first, that will get from this data structure that is a string, that is basically a collection of character. It will get the first character listed here, and it will be assigned to this variable of type char. Okay, and then we can start creating a if statement, and then if first letter, let's say that first letter that it's higher than A, and first letter is higher than J, then it will fill into this, and then we are going to return classroom A, as we specified before. Also, at this line, I forgot, we can set that this word we don't want to mess using lower and upper characters, so we are going to um, standardize this to use only upper characters and then to get it, to avoid further comparisons. Then besides, we are going to copy this and let's create this another to a statement that will be if it's higher than K or O, then return classroom B. Or let's say that it is between P and Z, then return class Z. And last, let's say that for some reason it didn't fit into any of those three if statements. Let's return some value by default. That could be classroom not found. Okay. So let's get back to our program. So in this program, let me show you what happened if we run this hello world, just for show purposes. If you see here, it is in the console printing hello world and some information that it's just regarding that where the program ended. So we close it, and then what we are going to do here is to instantiate our student class. We are going to create a new student. This is the way to instance the class that we have there. These are a student class. Once that we have instance or class, we are going to get the we are going to print the name of the student done name this way. So, but in this case, this class, it will be created empty. This student has no name at that point. So let's run it. So if you see here, we are not printing anything. So let's try to give it a name here to our student. Student name, it will be me. Let's try to run it again. You see here the console, you can see here that it is printing the name of the property, the value of the property, better said. So let's try to get now the grade of the student. So we are going to call, the classroom. And this is going to bring the classroom of this student based on the method we just wrote. Okay, you see here we are getting classroom not found. Let's find out why it's not returning. If I go inside here, if you see here, you can right click on it and you can click on go to definition and you will be directly onto that method code. And then we are going to add a breakpoint here to see what is happening here. Okay, so let's run it. It hit the breakpoint. Now, first letter, if we hover over the variable, we should see the value that is J. Okay, J, that's the actual value. And it's not entering here. The reason is because it seems like these are not properly placed. So this is that the first letter should be higher than A and less than A. So this seems to be the 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 opposite. So yeah, so all of the conditions are wrong, so I'm going to change them all, and let's try again. I'm going to run it again. Now it hit, and now if I press F10 or next step, you see that now it stepped into the if statement and it's going to return classroom A. Now when it's at this point, if I click on continue, let me show you the console, we have Jorge Rojo, classroom A. So the last thing I'm going to show you here, it's how the constructor works for a class. If you see here, we have the student class, and we can also type CTOR, and then we can click tab, and it's going to add a method that doesn't have a type of return, only have the same name of the class, and this is known as the constructor. When we instantiate a class like this piece of code, the constructor, is going to be executed. Let's say that, what else do I need to instantiate this class? I could ask for the name of the student and maybe the age. And if you see here, I can instance name equal to name and age equal to age. Now when we instantiate, it is requiring these parameters to match the structure of the constructor. So I will pass this parameter through here, and then comma, and then I'm going to pass the age, and then we can get rid of this line. Once we execute this, the constructor will handle the creating of this instance, and it will pass the values to the constructor. So once we execute this code, the code will look like this. I'm sorry. And this. So the constructor was in charge to create the name. That's all for today's lessons. I hope you learned something and enjoy this. Thank you very much. Goodbye.